What's up, YouTube? Yeah, that's right. I finally hit Legend. We've only got about 5 weeks left in the season, but we finally did it. The team that I hit Legend with is actually not the team that we're looking at today. The team I hit Legend with was actually the team that I showed off in the previous video with Pangoro, Grumpig, and Shadow Typhlosion. That one actually did take me all the way to Legend. This team, I played around with some spice once I got to Legend, fell back down a bit. This team actually got me back to Legend, so back over highest elo of the season. I think it was like 3,007 something. So yeah, this is the team: Dugong, LEAVANNY, and Shadow Golurk. Dugong, weak to fighting and electric. LEAVANNY as your safe swap, resists both, and then Golurk as your closer, double resist both. So pretty cool combo there. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Okay, right away we've got Dugong into Diggersby. This is a great lead, so we are going to just stay in this matchup. They switch into a Primeape, and we have a great response here with LEAVANNY resisting all of the karate chops and close combats, which forces my opponent to go for Rage Fist. And because we were quick on the swap, we actually have pretty close pacing to the Primeape's Rage Fist, and because in order to throw, it gives us 2 free turns because we have the same duration of turn. I will always get a Shadow Claw through, which means that I will always be able to outpace because they only got 2 free turns on the switch. My opponent is trying to make a play for switch, but because I know I switch fast enough, I can make a play for switch as well. So I'm going to double shield, and I'm going to throw the move as soon as I get it because only one more karate chop until they got to their 3rd Rage Fist. So we do take switch, but now all shields are down. I also am able to get to a Leaf Blade against the Diggersby that comes back in. This will actually hit really hard. It does about 50% to the Diggersby, which is nice. And even if they're able to get to a charge move here, Dugong is super bulky. We can take this no problem. And then it's just about what is that Pokemon in the back. My opponent is staying in. You saw I waited the turn there to make sure they did not get a catch of the Icy Wind, and they did not. They end up banking their Diggersby just not to get farmed down, but they're not even close to a move on it. And then we realize why they hesitated. They have a Togetic with no shield in the back, and I make an insane play. I wait the turn and then catch a Dazzling Gleam onto my Golurk. This also forces my opponent to throw the Psyshock as soon as they get to the move, which now means I can come back in with the Dugong. I can get a near full farm down. This can only be a Psyshock, so I can take this pretty comfortably. Dugong is very bulky. It's non-stab on the Togetic, and then one more Ice Shard to take down the Diggersby, and we're able to take that win. I will say it's not going to be just wins today. Someone in my comments mentioned, this is a neutral lead, by the way, just stay in, go for super effective drill runs, even though our Ice Shards are resisted. I will be showcasing a few more losses than normal in this video and the next, just so you guys can see how I play in bad matchups as well, because I make mistakes too. I tend to cut out the very obvious mistakes or just alignment based wins, just because that's not really educational for anybody, but I will include some that are close or down to game mechanic kind of things. So for this one, I am going to soft lose the lead. I'm okay with that. I don't think I can get a full farm down with the LEAVANNY without taking too much damage, so I actually come in with a Golurk, and of course they have a Golurk. I try and go for a catch onto my LEAVANNY, but I am unsuccessful, and it is a Diggersby in the back. Now the poor thing here about Diggersby is that well, one, they can only take 2 Leaf Blades. However, Fire Punch is double super effective on the Bug and Grass typing of LEAVANNY, so I'm kind of forced to shield everything up, even though this should be a type positive matchup. I do throw the second Leaf Blade on CMP, but what I really need to do is just grab that final shield from my opponent, because I have a Dynamic Punch loaded. My opponent actually pivots into their Greninja, maybe anticipating I would come in with the Golurk, and I know they have a move now, so I'm going to stay in this matchup because once again I'm expecting my opponent to expect me to try and snipe with the Golurk. So instead I just stay out of that matchup. They end up throwing, trying to predict the move. I then come in with the Go Lurk. I'm able to get to a dynamic punch, and now I'm only 3 Mudslaps away from a second dynamic punch, so we can outpace the Diggersby, and this is super effective damage, so we actually get the KO. Mind games in that one. There are a lot of mind games up in Legend, I'll tell you what. Terrible lead in the next match. We've got Paldean Tauros, so I'm going to instantly switch into my Golurk. Now this may seem like a strange play, but LEAVANNY is my hard answer, and I do not want to swap in my hard answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force him to throw energy, and then I'm just going to stay in this matchup. I'm going to throw the Shadow Punch before they're able to make it to a second charge move, so that if they want to get off the second charge move, I can just click the move and force them to either double shield or go down here in the ones, and they do double shield. Double shielding in a situation like this is alarm bells for me. I know something is weak to this in the back, and there it is. It's the Tinkaton. I am forced to throw on 4, otherwise they would outpace. However, it looks like that was a CMP tie, so my opponent might actually be on Heavy Slam on the Tinkaton, which is a little crazy, and they are. So that was CMP. Now we can just come in with the Dugong. Why am I coming in Dugong and getting a resisted Ice Shard farm down instead of coming in with LEAVANNY? Well, that's because they did not want their back Pokemon to suit Golurk, which means I think they're weak to ground in the back. So what is that Pokemon in the back? Why did they not want to see the Golurk? And there it is, it's Bastiodon. So now I just have to be wary of a catch. Drill Run is double super effective damage, so that read was correct, and now we're just watching for the catch. There's the catch attempt. We can snipe with our LEAVANNY Shadow Claws. They're unable to get to a charge move, and even if they did, everything would be resisted. And now we can just get to a Leaf Blade, and as soon as I land that Leaf Blade, this game is over. Flamethrower is double super effective, but I have a double super effective Drill Run banked on my Dugong, so my opponent, after KOing with the Flamethrower, immediately resigns the match. Dugong into Pidgeot. Yeah, I saw that Pidgeot Diggersby Claydol team everywhere yesterday, which is part of the reason I wanted to run Dugong. But either way here, we're going to stay in this matchup. We're going to go for 5 Ice Shards and the Icy Wind. This is super effective damage, and it lowers their attack. And the fact that they let that go clues me into the fact that they want me to let this go. So I'm expecting it to be a Brave Bird, so I shield that up. And it actually isn't. It's a Primeape in the back, and we pivot into our hard answer, which is not usually a good play, but they have a Diggersby in the back. So my opponent was ABA weak to the Ice typing on the Dugong, and once we connect with a Leaf Blade, we can throw another one right away, and it looks like that might have been a CMP tie, and it was. So at this point, we can let this go. Fire Punch is double super effective. It probably just barely does not KO, which means they get a full farm down. However, we can just come and get the Ice Shard through. That allows us to get to an Icy Wind, and now we can permanently lower the attack of this Primeape. We can also grab a shield. My opponent immediately goes for a Rage Fist, boosting their attack right back up, but now they're at neutral attack. They're already at another Rage Fist, and I'm afraid I just need this fast move damage on the Golurk, so I shield that up. I just need at least 2 more. They're already at another Rage Fist, and now it's just about whether I can get 3 more Ice Shards before they get to another Rage Fist, and we just barely can, because they should get KO'd like by the damage. The damage should register on the turn that they are getting to that charge move. But in the next match, we've got a Primeape on the lead. We are met with a Furret, and so I'm going to bait with a Shadow Punch after building up to the Dynamic Punch. This allows me to just get to another Dynamic Punch, but that's fine. This will do just a tiny bit of chip damage. We are Shadow. And my opponent double shields that. That's kind of crazy. I mean, they do know that Trailblaze is super effective into the Dugong, so they know they'll get those shield back. So that's why I actually come in with my LEAVANNY. I do get 1 turn lag, but it shouldn't matter too much in this instance. They still would have outpaced me there. There is another Swift, and they should be pretty close to already another Swift because they banked a lot of energy going for that full farm down. So at this point, I'm shielding it up. I'm going for the Leaf Blade. I'm just getting rid of this Furret. It's already done way too much. In comes the Primeape. I'm going to shield this up because LEAVANNY is my answer to the Primeape. No shields remaining. There is a Tinkaton in the back, and now it's just about whether we can connect with a drill run before they're able to KO, and they do have flash cannon. That does mean they're going to take a little bit longer to get to the charge move. So I overfarm slightly here. I go for a drill run, and then you'll see me go for an icy wind. And why am I going for this icy wind? I actually don't want to KO them, because if I KO them, I give their primate farm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ice shard them into one Shadow Claw range, and then I'm going to stop tapping. My opponent fortunately does throw, then we instantly pivot at the same time, making the exact same read. I am able to get to the first charge move, that lands, it does huge damage, but they get to the Rage Fist on 1 HP. Can we get the Ice Shard farm down before 2 Karate Chops KO? We can. Now it's about, do they have energy on this Tinkaton? And they do. So unfortunately, even though one more Ice Shard would have KO'd, they banked that Bulldoze, and because of that, they're able to take the win. Very close matchup in the endgame there. Mag Cargo. This is a tough lead, but we are just going to stay in. It's a lead where it's very tempting to bait. However, I hate baiting, so I probably am not going to go for a bait here. I am just going to full send a drill run, because if they called this bait, we'd be in a pretty rough spot. My opponent does wait the turn, make sure that I stayed in this matchup, and then they do connect with the Rock Tomb. It doesn't quite KO, and I'm also able to make it to a double super effective drill run, which is massive. That Incinerate will take me out, and they will be able to take the ones, but I can come in, get a Mud Slap farm down of their Mud Cargo. They're obviously going to have an answer for Golurk, and they don't. They actually have a Dosh Bun as their best answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm up to back-to-back Shadow Punches. If they let this go, I'm going to instantly pivot. That way I can take this charge move onto my LEAVANNY. It should just be a Psychic Fangs or a Body Slam. It is the Psychic Fangs, and fortunately for us, they have a Jellicent in the back, and Jellicent is not going to appreciate a super effective Leaf Blade plus super effective Shadow Claws, and as soon as they no shield that, this game is over. I can shield once, my defense is lowered, Surf is resisted, but I may as well just come out, get the full farm down, and now I'm basically at back-to-back Leaf Blades. If they shield this, this game is over. I have a charge move banked on my Golurk, they shield it up, in we come with the snipe of the Shadow Punch, and Shadow Punch from this range is enough to KO the Dosh Bun, and we're able to take that win. Into the next match, we've got Dugong into Bastiodon. Now this is a very tough lead because we are ABA weak to rock, but fortunately we do have double super effective drill run coverage. I overfarm, and so does my opponent, expecting me to overfarm because I wouldn't just throw as soon as I got to the move, and they actually catch a drill run onto their Medicham, which is rough. And I probably could have stayed in, but I didn't want to get them too much of an energy lead because they do have super effective Ice Punch in this matchup, and Psycho Cut is actually neutral here, and they're charging their energy pretty fast with that. But we do switch fast enough so we are able to take that matchup. They do come back in with the Bastiodon, but now I can align my Golurk with their Bastiodon, so we'll be in a pretty good situation here. In comes the Golurk. These Mud Slaps are double super effective. It is a Venusaur in the back, so I'm going to do this overfarm slightly. These Mud Slaps are still neutral. I'm going to go for a Shadow Punch. We're going to grab that shield, and at this point I'm going to come in with my Dugong, and I'm probably going to shield everything. I just need to get to an Icy Wind. Excuse me. And once we get to this Icy Wind and lower their attack, we can pretty much let this go. Because Mud Slaps are neutral. As long as I have a shield for my Golurk, if they make it to a Friendly, then we should be in a pretty good situation here. They switch back into the Bastiodon. This forces me to throw my energy. One more Mud Slap is enough to KO. Even if they have a charge move onto their Venusaur, they're not going to be able to get two of them. That Mud Slap will go through. Frenzy is shielded up, and we're able to take that win. Oh man, I think I've got like a hair just sticking up right into my nose. Very uncomfortable. Either way, fantastic lead in the next match. Dugong into a Dragonite, and they come in with a Swampert, and normally this would have been a great matchup for LEAVANNY, but they actually have super effective Sludge this season, but we can take one of them, and Leaf Blade is double super effective, so that instantly KOs the Swampert. Of course, all of our charge moves are resisted onto this Dragonite. Wasn't sure if I'd quite make it to the X Scissor, so just going for the Leaf Blade. That does some okay chip with the Shadow Claws. Now we can come back with a Dugong, and it's a Corviknight in the back. And yes, this is a Steel Wing Corviknight. I think this is the team that Home Slice Henry showcased to reach 3250 elo or something like that. So no surprise there, but believe it or not, this is actually not that bad of a matchup for Golurk. Golurk, obviously, its Mudslaps are resisted, but look how much damage they're doing. And once we bait with a Shadow Punch, we can now full send the Dynamic Punch. We grab both shields from my opponent, but at this point, the game is over. All we have to do is save shields for the Dragonite superpower, and we'll be in great shape. There, I'm going to make it to 1 Iron Head. Here comes an Icy Wind your way, and now we know that second Iron Head won't be nearly enough damage. Go for the Ice Shot Farm Down. They actually bank their bank that energy if they had any. They come back in with the Dragonite. We're actually able to outpace and then Ice Shard the Corviknight down, so not even needing to use that shield in the endgame. Okay, Dugong into Alolan Sandslash. This is a difficult lead, but it actually just got a whole lot better because our opponent is on Powder Snow. So their fast move is double resisted here, which is great. And we have super effective Drill Run, whereas their Drill Runs are only neutral. And it looks like 2 Drill Runs will not quite be enough to KO. So we can very comfortably no shield both. They do shield up the first. And at this point, they're in Icy Wind range. Yes, Icy Wind is also double resisted on my opponent, but it will be able to pick up the knockout when they are deep in the red and they are a shadow. So here comes the Icy Wind, and we are able to get the knockout. It is a Claydol in the back, so we kind of need to stay in that matchup so that we can align our LEAVANNY against it. But unfortunately for us, there is a Togetic in the back, and yeah, even though they farmed with the Dazzling Gleam, I have no choice but to call this bait. It is just the Psyshock. They're already at another Psyshock, and I will shield this up because I need to try and get chip damage here, because Shadow Punches is like the only neutral damage I even have left in this endgame, besides the Shadow Claws on LEAVANNY. So I don't really see a win con left in this matchup, and my opponent knows that, so they double shield the Shadow Punches. So I'm going to instantly pivot into my LEAVANNY here, and they do connect with the Dazzling Gleam. I'm going to farm up to back-to-back Leaf Blades. I'm hoping this is enough to KO the Togetic. It is stab, but it looks like it's not quite enough. I should have gone 1 Shadow Claw in the move there to throw on CMP, because it looks like it might have been enough to KO. And then we can just shield this up, but I don't think they even are close to a charge move. On their Claydol, actually they are, and we're going to catch it onto our Golurk, which is a huge catch, and now I'm 2 away, so I should be able to get to the Leaf Blade there, but I get 1 turn lag, which means I get KO'd with the move, which is unfortunate. I'm not sure Leaf Blade would have KO'd from that range. It probably wouldn't have. Claydol is pretty bulky, but the fact that we caught the Rock Tomb so we weren't debuffed, and we were able to save our LEAVANNY only to get screwed by the game and 1 turn lag is just, it's so rough, man. I mean, Scopely, I really hope they come in and just fix the game, because it's really in dire straits. But in the next match, we've got a Sandslash on the lead. This is an okay matchup. This one is the non-shadow and the running Shadow Claw, so 2 benefits for my opponent here. I did think about baiting here, because if they wanted to switch, they would just instantly give that up, and then I instantly pivot into my LEAVANNY because they gave me a shield, so I'm comfortable coming in here and giving them a shield back for an energy lead. Unfortunately, it's Mantine in the back. The reason I came in with my LEAVANNY was because Sandslash is usually paired with Waters. Mantine isn't usually in the picture anymore, so I thought, oh, if I get an energy lead on LEAVANNY, this game is over. But because they have double super effective wing attacks, they're able to shield once, fully farm me down, and now I'm just in a situation where I cannot win this game. We can shield up a Water Pulse here, but then it's pretty much game over, because as soon as they make it to another one, unless I wait the turn, go for a catch, but we're unable to get the catch. My opponent thought I had a move though, so they try and catch it. That allows me to actually get to a Shadow Punch now. This is a CMP tie. Shadow Punch is enough to KO the Mantine, and now what is in the back? But it's a Jellicent in the back. And all we can do here is throw as late as possible, throwing our Shadow Punch on CMP with the Surf. It gets them deep into the red, but unfortunately, we are not going to be able to take that win, and that will be the final battle of the video. So not ending on a good win there, but I think I overall showed the strength of this team. I thought it was really cool using LEAVANNY in the Remix Cup because it kind of core breaks the very common line of Pangoro, which we didn't see very much, by the way, but Pangoro plus either Ghost or like Grumpig Psychic. That team is absolutely everywhere. It's the team that I used to hit Legend myself. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and target that team with an interesting Pokemon. Amoonguss does a similar thing, but LEAVANNY is way more fun. You could just sub in Amoonguss for LEAVANNY and Claydol for Golurk and have a bulkier, easier to play team. But I just wanted to have a little bit of fun. I've hit Legend at this point. LEAVANNY, it resists the fighting type coverage on Pangoro. It has super effective Shadow Claw for the Ghost and Psychic, and it has super effective X-Scissor for the Psychic, and Neutral Leaf Blade for the Ghost, unless it's Jellicent, in which case it's super effective. So yeah, very strong team here. I do recommend probably a bulkier version of this team if you're going to run it with Amoonguss and Claydol, but that's going to be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.